It's really quite shocking to find an entire community of hundreds of thousands of people to be so systematically excluded from right to education. It is very clear to me that the Baha'i population of Iran is an endangered species.
On the 21st of May 2011, all across Iran, there was a simultaneous raid in homes in the wee hours of the morning. Iranian authorities, plainclothesmen, uniformed police barged into homes across the country and started seizing equipment, questioning people. They eventually took dozens of individuals, men, women, youth, in for questioning. So it was a planned attack on the Baha'i Institute of Higher Education. It's really important for the Iranian government to live up to its commitment to uphold justice for all people in the country and to live up to the Islamic values by which it claims to stand. Good afternoon, everybody. We're going to talk about freedom of education globally in the context of the situation that's been developing over the past 30 years in Iran regarding the Baha'i students that are being denied higher education in that country. It was 40 homes of individuals that were linked somehow to the Baha'i Institute for Higher Education. So it was either students or teachers or administrators, and there were dozens of individuals that were taken into custody and interrogated, and some of them remain in detention even today, and solely because they were teaching or learning or administering at the Baha'i Institute of Higher Education.
Education is one of the most fundamental civil rights of any human being within any republic. What the Baha'i Institute for Higher Education has done in Iran is nothing short of a miracle.
Yeah, my father was one of the founders for the Baha'i Institute for Higher Education. The Baha'i faith started about 160 years ago in Iran. And the persecution of the Baha'is basically started with the inception of the faith. Tens of thousands of Baha'is were killed at the time. To date, about 300,000 Baha'is live in Iran.
Baha'is believe in the importance of education, the equality of men and women, in the equality of all people, and that ultimately mankind will live in harmony.
I was born in Tehran, Iran. Being a Baha'i, we had our own challenges growing up. We couldn't have the social life that other kids had. And we were always growing up with the fear that one day they may kick us out of school. So I knew my options are very limited, and at any time I might be stopped from growing or from going further.
My mom was expelled from her job, and my brother was not allowed to continue his education in the university. Same for me, same for my sister, for my uncle, for my aunt. The Iranian government is actually hurting the Iranian culture and Iranian country, the whole country, not just the Baha'i community. A lot of other minorities, a lot of smart people, graduates from universities, they're not allowed. They do not find opportunities in Iran.
When I was in first grade, one of my best friend's father got executed only because he was a Baha'i. So it was, for a child who couldn't comprehend it, it was a scary years for us. We didn't know what is going to happen. During the Shah, there was persecution of Baha'is, but it was limited. After the revolution, it became the hidden agenda of the government to deprive Baha'is from any cultural or economical progress. They expelled all the Baha'i professors from universities, and Baha'i students could not finish their educations. Baha'is were not allowed to work for government, state-related jobs. Baha'is lost some of their properties and were arrested. And there were more than 200 Baha'is which were executed in the 1980s.
My father was a member of the National Spiritual Assembly of the Baha'is of Iran. And in 1981, he was arrested, and in a very short span of time, he was executed along with 7 other of his colleagues. So yes, it was very cruel and it was heartbreaking. But at the same time, I really see the root cause of it as ignorance.
My father was in jail for three months, and my mother was there close to three years. My mother, they took her to the firing squad 10 times in a row, and they told her, if you say that I'm not a Baha'i, we'll release you. If you're a Baha'i, we might kill you.
The government policy has been very much thought out and implemented in a systematic and pre-planned way to keep the Baha'is under control. All of those things were spelled out in a secret document that was leaked in the mid-90s from the Supreme Leader's office.
So this is a letter written to the Supreme Leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Ayatollah Khamenei. It's dated 25 February 1991. The recent views and directives given by the esteemed leader regarding the Baha'i question were conveyed to the Supreme Council. The government's dealing with them must be in such a way that their progress and development are blocked. They must be expelled from universities, either in the admission process or during the course of their studies, once it becomes known that they are Baha'is. Deny them employment if they identify themselves as Baha'is. Deny them any position of influence, such as in the education sector, etc. The letter is signed by Dr. Sayyid Muhammad Golpaigani, the Secretary of the Supreme Revolutionary Cultural Council.
I was not a Baha'i, but I went to school with several Baha'i and other minorities in Iran. The earliest memory I have of discrimination against them is the fact that they could not drink water from the same water fountains that the rest of the children, the Muslim children, could drink from.
Baha'is are not recognized in the Iranian constitution, and they have no legal rights whatsoever. Amnesty International has been increasingly concerned about persecution of the Baha'is because the Iranian government has been increasingly persecuting Baha'is as well as other minorities.
In 2007, my father was interrogated and put in solidarity for a long time. And in 2008, eventually he was in jail for about a year because of his Baha'i beliefs. And still, actually, again, they called upon him very recently. And now he has 5 or 8 months of prison.
This is the application for just regular school. And you can see that it has a column for religion. This is the column, the row that you need to say what is your religion. It has Islam, Christianity, Jew, Zoroastrian.
They required the admissions form filled by students to declare their religion. And if you're a Baha'i, they immediately would find out and not let you enroll.
Yeah, there are a lot of, Iranian Muslims that they are very helpful, very understanding.
Muslim friends of us, that were always for us. They always supported us. And we looked at them like our brothers. A dear Muslim friend of mine risked a lot to help me when he heard I had problems with one of my most difficult engineering courses. He could have been expelled from his university in Tehran, or even worse if he was caught.
I remember we had to be very careful not to attract so much attention. And sometimes, when the class was over, they were telling us to leave like 2 people every 5 minutes.
I was at the school at a time doing my pharmaceutical research. And then all of a sudden, I heard a shatter. Door all of a sudden opened to the building, and a few men came to the facility. And then I remember that all of us were sad, thinking that this is fearful, this is frightening.
They had guns. They came in, they confiscated all the books, materials and computers, and they arrested the person that was in charge, and they put a lock on there so nobody can go back.
They are people who've been arrested who I know very closely. I cannot say their names. They've been my classmates, and they've been my teachers, great teachers of me. And they are in prison, and their families haven't heard from them, and their only charge is education.
If you want civil liberties for 72 million Iranians, begin with the building block of the Baha'is. At the heart and the core of the society remains a tolerant and multifaceted, multicultural society that is perfectly capable of living in peace and harmony and acceptance and learning from each other.
Many people think that the Iranian government just doesn't care what the world thinks of them, but that's absolutely not true. The Iranian government is very sensitive to international pressure. It's very conscious of its public image around the world. And so that's why it's very important for human rights activists to take action.
Educational institutions abroad have a moral responsibility to address this entire generation of Iranians, whether they are dissidents and activists who are deprived of higher education, or Baha'is who because of their faith and beliefs are being deprived.
Everywhere in the world, those whose rights are being violated, those who cannot practice their faith, those who cannot express their political beliefs or have their cultural practices, can learn from Baha'i community.
I hope that we can use this experience and similar experiences to not only just think about ourselves and what is important to us, but to look at the bigger picture, to think of people of this world as they were our own family.
The Baha'i institution of higher education shows everyone that we can stand for whatever we want. Nobody can ban me from being a human being. Nobody can ban me from learning.